Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. We are doing quick check-ins, their feelings, and what they do next for the weekend, and live paid and personal mini readings. I have 3 on the list right now, so make sure to get your question on before I get to the end of Pisces, because I will shut them off quick. It's Friday, so hello, Angel. What's up? So yes, get yourself on the list before the end of Pisces. Questions will be closed immediately. Hello, the girl. Hello, Bernadette. What's up, everybody? And Abigail, how are you? I love to see you too. Thank you. So yes, I have Betsy Boo, Tilly, and him. Hello, him. What's up? So far on the list. And hello, Nature Girl. What's up? How are you doing? And let's get going. I'm going to start Aries at 111. I can't see. Annabelle, what's up? How are you? Hopefully you guys got some nice plans for the weekend. All right, Aries, their feelings and what are they going to do next? Let's see. That's what I'm taking a look at. Feelings for you. And I'll roll the dice. Let me roll the dice. I have Gemini, Pisces, Taurus, Aries, and maybe a Leo. So possibly those are the signs that this might refer to. I have the Wheel of Fortune at the bottom of the deck. So we are getting, giving something a chance again this weekend. So there's a chance to move in a new direction, pivot. But there's also a chance here with the Wheel of Fortune to do the same thing and expect the same outcome, so we got to change, we got to turn something around. But this can also be too something coming around again that you've put some work into in the past, and if something feels unfinished between you and somebody else. Jupiter energy, so Sag and Pisces energy right there too. Your person's feelings is the Empress. So there's something about you that still calls to them, that they're still tuned into. They feel you. They feel comfortable when they're around you. You guys seem to get something from each other. It feels like after I see you, or after I talk to you, or after I'm around you, I feel good again. I feel replenished. I really feel like I'm cared for. So there must be something about the way you handle your situation with somebody that they just really are falling for you. So this can be a relationship that, continues to grow, throughout time. Even if you are dealing with complications with somebody, it doesn't matter. It's still, the feeling's real. And that's what the Empress says, right? It's like they love to connect, or they want to connect. And I have Libra and Taurus energy as well here. So any possible movements this weekend, and I'm seeing the Ace of Cups for you. So a talk, opening up to you, wanting to open up to you. Maybe, there's a very strong receptive energy. So somebody really receiving something that you sent to them, whether it was a message that landed hard, whether it was energy or a dream you both had, or it was something that was said in the past, and I'm seeing a birth here. So the birth of a relationship, and also a childbirth too. So pregnancy can be indicated here. Somebody even thinking about you being the mama or daddy of their baby, right? It could be that energy. Any challenges with this person, and it may be slow to open up their feelings, but something's cracking open this weekend. And resolving some sort of conflict that you might be feeling with this person. Now I am seeing child, mother and child, and this could be new to somebody too. If you are somebody that has children, maybe it's what they've been holding back on, just kind of making sure that, this is what they want. And it does look like a lot of love this weekend for my Aries. And an offer, possibly a love message offer. All right. Hello, Queen Tiki. Hello, Cindy. Did I miss somebody? Oh, Cindy, what's up? All right. Taurus at Hello, Miss Anne. The Isle of Costco sounds very alluring, sounds mysterious. All right, Taurus. Let's see. Look at Taurus already. So you're already in somebody's energy. There's something about you, looking good, feeling good. Somebody wants to provide for you. Somebody can see, long-term stability with you. And your energy is all over this. So we're looking at their feelings and what they do next. Well, if somebody's feeling this strongly about you, feeling pulled towards you, maybe they do want to finally ground in, or, maybe you'll notice this, that your person here is trying to be a little bit more consistent with you. Maybe they're starting to understand you a little bit more. Let's see their feelings. There it is, the Ace of Swords. All right, I can see clearly now, right, that I can see maybe somebody's finally realizing how you work, what makes you tick. Maybe you're unique, different than what they're used to. It's like you are somebody that is always consistent and showing up. And this is something maybe they value and they didn't realize before how much they valued it. So you may get some truth this weekend is what I'm seeing about the way somebody feels about you. I mean, they like the whole package. King of Pentacles, Taurus energy right there. They love the whole package that you bring. So it's not just one thing. And you can't pull out one thing about yourself that this person might be judging you for, because it seems like it's like everything you have to offer. And so if there is some challenges or complexities, it's mainly probably your person just trying to adjust and understand what this relationship is, or it's starting to really mean something to them. Now, the Ace of Swords, whatever it is this weekend, maybe they will finally just say the thing. Be clear with the direction that they want this to go in. And it could be challenging for them to be so blunt and open and straightforward with you. Their next moves, possibly, I do see the Eight of Swords and the Seven of Wands. All right. So it feels as though you have somebody here that really wants to let down their guards, but there's a lot of fear behind it. There's a lot of nervousness behind it. Maybe even fear of, not being understood or being misunderstood, or a fear of being rejected is what I'm seeing here too. Now, somebody could be confronting you finally and getting the courage to defend themselves and their actions in the past. What I'm getting is respect. I have respect for you. And if I have said or done something that didn't seem to make you happy, I didn't understand in the past how much it really affected you. But I feel like your person who I'm picking up on is starting to realize that your feelings do run deep and you are more sensitive than you let on. All right. So any challenges with them? And the Two of Pentacles. Your person just talks themselves out of making decisions, and they can be very inconsistent with you. And they realize that it does stress you out. They may be putting a stop to that. I feel like somebody can say, with the Ace of Swords, I understand that I'm inconsistent with you. Maybe we can work on a different routine or a schedule or a new plan to get together. Now I'm going to roll the dice. I have Scorpio, Cancer, Aquarius, and Gemini, possibly a Virgo that may show up for you this week. So there is some defensiveness, and I feel like maybe that's you. Maybe you're misreading your person. They just kind of weigh things out and And it's fear-based. Thank you, Annabelle. Oh my God. Wait a minute. Did I miss some more? There's oh, Tiara came in. Annabelle, to Jules. I love it. Thank you. And you sent this one. All right. Pretty awesome. Thank you. All right. Let's see. 11. Liking the numbers. All right. No falling asleep here. I can't fall asleep yet. I want this to be an easy day. I want, you know, and it's just hasn't. This week hasn't been that easy. I mean, not like hard emotionally, like just a lot of shit to do. All right, Gemini, their feelings for you and what they do next. All right, I see a Queen of Wands. Maybe there's a fire sign interested in you, a fire sign feeling pulled in your energy, finding you very attractive, you know, liking what they see, you know, and they're pretty confident. They got a lot of pride. So let's see their feelings. Page of Pentacles. They're not showing you everything, but they are definitely trying to figure you out as well. It's like studying you, misunderstanding you. Maybe 1 minute you seem, you know, I've got the Queen of Wands. So maybe they see you as somebody that, you know, you got a lot of pride, you have some ego, you're hard to read. But it does look like somebody could be trying to apply more effort this week, take the stand, move forward, keeping it simple, you know. Feelings growing here, but I really, every time you do something different, or anytime something happens, this person, you know, pauses for a sec and tries to figure things out, and can seem a little bit timid at times, right? And it's just like questionable. I'm questioning everything. But I'm starting to understand you, and I'm starting to like what I see, right? So it is a slower paced energy, and feelings growing slow, but these are the ones when people are putting more effort into understanding you, because maybe they see something that you don't, or they really do see potential for the future, but they don't want to rush in. Their next actions, though, I see the Emperor card. It looks like they could initiate, finally decide to make those plans with you. You know, this is somebody, though, I will say to you, contains themselves around you. So they may act like a little bit more stiff or resistant when they're around you. They may only show you a little bit of what's really going on. They try to, you know, hide behind this exterior that seems like I got a lot going on. But do they? Or are they just making excuses? They have a lot going on. Are they just making excuses because they want the pace to be a little bit slower? But I do see them executing, following through, making plans, or, you know, initiating contact with you this week. So if a response to a text, saying hello to you, or picking up after themselves, or doing something that's a little bit more active that shows them that they're committed, that shows that they're committed to this connection. Any challenges, if any? I see the King of Wands. You know, there's a battle of egos going on between you and another person. And if the challenge is the King of Wands, somebody doesn't feel sufficient enough for you, or doesn't feel adequate enough, there it is, or is feeling worn out, or just tired of relationships in general. You've got their attention, but they definitely could procrastinate. You know, and again, I'm seeing giving you little, like, and, you know, this is where, for some of you, if you've been getting little breadcrumbing for a long time, this might not be for you. This is more somebody here just kind of, you know, testing you out, testing to see what happens, because they don't want to get their pride hurt. I'm going to roll the dice. I have Pisces, I have Gemini, I have Aquarius, Libra, and possibly a Scorpio. Cancer. All right, Cancer. You have the little devil showing up for you. You know, seduction, attachment, you know, my vices, my temptation. You know, it's like, be careful what you calling in, because there's always some sort of, you know, cost. You know, where this temptation can be costly. You know, and I have the Wheel of Fortune. So something coming around this weekend that is, you know, obviously you and another person, you have this attachment, you have this pull, you have this feeling of something feels like we've got to finish it, we got to figure it out. But with the Devil and the Wheel of Fortune, we've got to be very mindful not to repeat the same pattern. It's doing the same thing, expecting the same result, a different result. And that's what's happening here. So if somebody is coming around, somebody's thinking, they could also be thinking, I don't want the same result. I want something different, but something has to change. Capricorn and Jupiter energy, and that's, well, because Jupiter is and Mercury is having a conjunction, I think, this weekend as well. So this could be where, you know, things get very spicy. And I'm seeing the Eight of Swords. So your person's feelings, they do have some doubts here. They are a little nervous. They could be holding back on you for a reason. You know, they may be just being very cautious, not to say the wrong thing, not do the wrong thing. They can get in their head, obviously. And it can be very triggering, because it could be easy to trigger each other, especially if you're trying to do something over or see each other again or talk to each other. But it does feel like your person feels kind of like, I've got to hold back a little bit. What's their next actions? There's the Knight of Pentacles. They are being very cautious as they're moving forward. So I feel like they're, you know, they know that they may be, it's like they feel a pull towards you. They want something to work out. They desire this, but it looks like they're also desiring for the relationship to change in a new direction, you know, not feeling like, you know, every little thing they say or do or, you know, is going to maybe you might take it as a judgment, or they could take things personally. It could be you or the other person. A person in this energy is easy to trigger, and they may, everything you say, you know, oh, you know, even if you say nice shoes, they might even take it like, what's wrong with my shoes? You know, shit like that. So very testing, you know, very testing the waters. It's somebody that feels a strong pull towards you, wants to, you know, work something out, wants to see where things go, but they are really on eggshells for some reason. What's their challenge? The Moon card. They have a lot of feelings kind of stirring up right now, but they don't know what to do with them. And they're also very cautious and skeptical of their own feelings and of what they're seeing in front of them. So just be mindful of projection with your person this weekend, especially with the Devil card here. It means you both could be terrified and you both are triggering each other and you both are projecting onto each other. Take things slow and I don't know, just be mindful of the energies right now, because there is something that is magical happening here, but also you and another person are reflecting back towards one another, both your fears. Very twin flamey energy. Sonar, thank you. Little duckling. All right. I don't even know what they are. All I see is 900 joules and it says duckling. I have no idea what it is. Leo. Oh, Leo. I wish I could see him. Happy Friday. Happy birthday. All right, so let's see your person's feelings this weekend and possible next actions. All right, well, you got the Queen of Pentacles, overall energy. So it feels genuine. It feels like somebody wants to stabilize a circumstance or a situation that you're in. Let's ground in, come on down, lay it down. Let's look at reality. Let's find a practical way to figure things out. There's a lot of, I care about you. I care about you. So I really want this to work out. I want to figure it out. It's not always a guarantee that we're going to get along and move forward, but it does say, I really like you. I really care about you. You have a Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn energy, and let me roll the dice for you. You have a Cancer energy. You have a Scorpio and Virgo, and you have an Aries and possibly another Leo energy. Now, their feelings, 8 of Pentacles. Maybe they feel like you need to go work on yourself, right? No, I'm just playing, Leo. All right. Their feelings seem to be very committed to you, very loyal to you. But sometimes this person gets distracted easy and they get very focused and do their own thing. Right. Now you got somebody who is working, trying to improve themselves, trying to make things work. But it is somebody that often, like I said, can seem like they're an avoidant of problems when they're not paying attention. Or you think they're not paying attention. It could be a test too, just to see, maybe they like to test you. Maybe they like to see how committed you are to them, right? How committed you are to the situation. Now, and seeing the next move, though, the 10 of Swords, and they want to end some sort of confrontation with you. So going back to what I was saying in the beginning, somebody really cares about you, but sometimes avoids you to avoid confrontation. Or they're avoiding something ending or something difficult, or you guys need space before something does end completely. It's like the 10 of Swords, it's like things have been so difficult. Maybe we need to take a step back here and just figure out both ourselves what we really want or need before we move forward. So I do feel like somebody could be taking space because of a difficult situation that you guys keep enduring. Now, the challenge is the 4 of Pentacles, letting go of control of the situation. The challenge is the two of you have some grip on each other. You see potential, or you have built some sort of foundation where you guys just know each other and understand each other. So you could possibly, have a hard time giving each other space or letting go. This person's not leaving your energy, but right now it does look like I care about you, but I'm trying to give us space, and I'm not avoiding the situation, but I'm avoiding maybe things getting out of hand. Now, if you recently had a breakup with this person, or you had a falling out, your person is still invested in this connection, but they're giving it space. Happy birthday. All right. You know, and you got the Fool behind the Queen of Pentacles. So, you know, it's like somebody's like, man, I still like you, but maybe I'm still a fool for you. But all right. Virgo. All right, Virgo, let me roll the dice. Signs that I'm getting. Scorpio, you know, and I have water here. Aquarius, Libra, Sagittarius. I'm kind of seeing Capricorn peek through. So Capricorn could be checking up on you. You know, the Queen of Cups, you know, totally tuned into you, or you're tuned into somebody. You know, you're feeling each other. There's an emotional connection. You know, you can easily absorb other people's energy with this type of energy too. So some of your feelings and emotions could be because, you know, maybe you got to do a cleanse, right? But I am feeling the overall tone of is I care, I feel you, I have emotional connection with you. Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. And your person's feelings here, you know, you've got the Page of Swords. It's like, I want to show you, I might not be able to tell you, I might not be able to explain myself, but can you feel me? Because I can feel you. I also have somebody here that may easily get triggered, right? So if you're, it's easy for you to express your feelings. It might not be so much for your person to express, but it does look like they're trying to. So this weekend, somebody could be trying to tell you in other ways how they're really feeling. They're trying to find, you know, the way to communicate with you. And it's like, I'm going to say what's coming through for me right now. If somebody tries to say something to you, but you know, jokingly about it, or you don't receive it well, that's what pushes this person back towards not saying anything. You know, so it's almost like I tried and the response wasn't what I expected, so I'm not doing that again. All right, because it can be somebody that really thinks a lot before they even talk about their feelings. And maybe they know they need to, they want to express, they really want, they're writing that text, but they haven't sent it yet. You know, it's like, I don't want to look stupid. You know, they could be, you might even receive some text this weekend where they're kind of probing in, you know, like, what are you up to? What are you doing? Or asking for something silly, just to kind of test the waters with you. So what's their possible next actions? And I'm seeing the Two of Wands. It looks like, you know, you've got them really preparing to ask you out, or want to, you know, get together, or getting ready to reach out to you. There's just a slight delay, and it could be just because, I don't know, every time I say something it triggers, or I don't say the right thing, or it doesn't come across the right way. What is their biggest challenge? The Empress card. You know, their biggest challenge could be how in love. Maybe they think you're absolutely amazing. Maybe they think you're beautiful. Maybe they think you're gorgeous. Maybe they have another person. I don't know. Right? The Two of Wands can show I've got to make a choice, you know, and if there's another person, then that's a complicated situation. there's still, I am seeing the Queen of Cups come out. But, you know, their biggest challenge is this person lacks security in themselves. All right. They may not realize how attractive they are, which can be a gift at sometimes, but also it could be what, you know, triggers you. Your person just lacks some self-confidence at times, especially when it comes to approaching a relationship. Now, that doesn't mean they're like this in life. They could be awesome at work and outside, but when it comes to expressing themselves, they shut down. All right. And it could be because Virgo is just so beautiful and they love being around your energy. All right, Libra. All right, my Libras and my Libros, my Libertarians. Libra, their feelings. The Moon card. All right, so distortion, you know, not seeing the full picture, letting our emotions dictate what's really happening instead of looking at facts. Projection can be happening. It's just there's too much uncertainty in this connection that I'm picking up to form a belief and stick to it. You know, it sucks. You want certainty. You want to know what to think, but you can't, because there's no certainty. So you have a choice. What do I want to think? And maybe it's just, I need to let this, you know, let this kind of simmer before I need to let things happen and let things form on their own. Because what will happen is, in the Moon card, you'll formulate the story that you get stuck on and you'll make it happen so you feel secure. You'll make a story happen. And then then it just has to, because our ego wants it to. So with the person that's on your mind here, the Moon card, I have Pisces energy. They have feelings, and sometimes feelings get stirred up and you're like, it's a mix between, I wasn't expecting this, I didn't know, I have feelings, I could be aggravated, I could be dealing with other things, I could, you know, but I have feelings and don't want to make a decision before I feel stable. You know, and here it is, the Seven of Pentacles, your person's feelings. You know, I don't know if I want to invest, or if we're going in the right direction, or if we need to pivot. You know, we may have a really good friendship. We may have had a long, you know, stand relationship going. We might even be in a relationship and everything is still going, but things have kind of got similar, and things have gotten stuck and monotonous, and things don't change. Every time we show up, it's the same story. Nothing changes. So your person may be just reevaluating and deciding, what does the future look like? And do I want to move forward? Do I see this? You know, and you both could be mirroring each other. You both could be feeling the same way. You just don't know what the future looks like. What's their next actions? The Eight of Swords, right? So it really does feel like your person's kind of going through analysis paralysis here. Like, I don't know whether I should continue. Am I ready to move forward or not? What's their biggest challenge? The Four of Wands, right? You know, Do they want to bring it home? Do they want to make it a home? Do they want to settle in? Do they want stability with you? Is this going to go somewhere? Is this going to make them happy? You know, it's practical questions. And the thing that sucks is the Seven of Pentacles is an energy of patience, you know, when somebody's working through their problems and whether or not you guys can move forward or not. So there is maybe a lack of communication this week. I would not freak out if there's a lack of communication. You can count on the feelings being there. So somebody really wants to figure out their next move before they jump in. You can see somebody here has a lot of noise going on, you know, that they're trying to work through. You know, when they make a decision, it's going to be to move forward or not. And we're going to know. So the truth will be revealed. But this weekend, there could be a pause or a temporary pause in a situation where somebody's trying to figure out what their next step is. All right. I have Libra. You're showing up front and center. So this could be even your personal message, what I just said. It might not even be your person. I have Pisces. I have Capricorn, Sag, and possibly an Aquarius. Hello, Miss Crystal and Mr. Jeff and Miss Bina. Hello, Miss Tracy. All right, Scorpio, their feelings for you. Impossible next actions this weekend. Temperance card. Taking a moment just to kind of reset things, right? I don't know. It looks like a good, it depends on the kind of relationship you're connecting with. It's Sagittarius energy. Things kind of coming together, right? Sometimes, you know, we had a lot of action. Things looked good this past week, or things were settling in. Maybe you were talking, maybe something good happened that felt, but then all of a sudden things get quiet again. And that's the recalibration period. It's like, all right, you know, it's overwhelming. We just had a win and now I want to go back home and just settle in, right? And I want to, you know, kind of slow our roll a little bit just to make sure everything feels right. Right. So that's a really good energy. But for some people can't stand that energy. Right. Some people like, no, I want intensity and action 24/7. I want validation 24/7. I want to know what's going on. I want to keep going. I don't want to go home. Right. But, you know, the energy for this weekend is things need to kind of go home. People need to go home and chill out. And everything is unfolding naturally the way it's meant to, right? So that's good news, Scorpio. How do they feel, right? 4 of Cups, right? So your person might be feeling a little bit down in the dumpy poo, you know? I just, you know, everything's going good. And, you know, maybe I'm feeling a little bit worn down, not feeling myself, feeling a little disengaged, you know? Maybe even, and this could be, and don't get triggered, reconsidering whether or not you know, could be more than just friends. You know, sometimes we do that. We're all so special. We're all supposed to be special, and everybody's supposed to just fall in love and be a soulmate and be the one. But somebody might be like, yeah, everything's going good. We just need to chill out for a second because I want to make sure that where my feelings really are. Is this really what I want to do? What I want, you know? Did I want to start this, or, you know? And it just feels like a little bit withdrawn. Maybe they feel like you're withdrawn. Maybe they feel like you are second guessing yourself, right? Their feelings. They don't know if you feel the same way they do, right? So what's their next possible actions? They'll pull themselves out of that attitude. Maybe you're just dealing with somebody who's a little bit moody. Remember, we have the eclipse we just had. We have people working overtime. We have people dealing with kids going back to school. We have life just lifing and sucking us dry. We have people doing things that just seem curious. I mean, there's just so much shit going on that it's easy for your person to even get caught up in the emotional, being worn out with life in general, right? I just, you know, but the Emperor card tells me that they will initiate, all right? I need a hug too. They will initiate and they will step up. It looks like they'll pull themselves out of whatever protective mode that they are in right now. What is their biggest challenge? The Hanged Man, right? Their perspective. You're dealing with somebody who is, you know, maybe overthinking something, or, you know, looking at life like, you know, I'm stuck, everything is not working out, whatever, you know, maybe this will happen. But I don't know, give your person a hug, give them a couple days, they'll come around. It does look like everything is going to be fine with that Emperor making peace, all right? So don't take it personal if your person's acting like a cranky pants this weekend. All right, I'm going to roll the dice. I have Virgo, I have Cancer, I have Aries, I have Leo, maybe a Gemini. All right, and I do have Aries and Pisces up here too as well. Gotta go hug the cranky pants. I've been cranky too, not realizing it. And, you know, and I've been noticing other people too, but I've been pulling back a little bit quicker. I'm just like, all right, let's take a right really quick and I'll come back and check on you in a couple hours, right? Oh my God, the Brusca. What city? Everybody giving hugs. We need to give your people hugs. I'm reading about your people. I'll take the hugs though. I can't believe that. Where are you? Isn't the average like 5, or like that can cause a lot of damage? Isn't 7.4 like destructive, like extremely destructive? Good morning, Hannah. I'm reading about their feelings. So unless it feels like you, this is where we can point the finger. Today is where we can point the finger at the other person. Yeah, everybody send some love to Brusca. I don't know where she's at, but they just had a huge earthquake. Like, hello, Beatrice. Yeah, I like it. You look at all those fingers pointing at me. It's not my fault. Don't point it at me. Those crack me up. It's those in the eyeballs, the fingers in the eyeballs. They just crack me up. It feels so personal, like I'm really being pointed at. All right, Sagittarius. 44. All right, Sag is going to get a good number. 44, 44. Nice. All right, Sag Venus. I'm a Sag wannabe. I'm going to go with that. Sag wannabe. I would do so much with the Sag title. I would live up to the name. Look at this, a Tower card, right? We were just talking about that. Oh, the 9 of Wands. Yeah. So this looks like somebody's recovering from a blow to their ego, a blow to their home, a blow to the relationship, but it's you know, it sucks, but the good news is there's room to rebuild. Like neither, you know, there's an energy here of something had to give, something had to be said, something had to happen. And in order for this to move forward, and it looks like this weekend could be where, you know, something's being exposed, you know, there's a sorry, but we got to take things apart and take a look at what's really happening here. And it's, you know, on one hand, it's a blessing. It's a blessing because it obviously has been something that you guys have been carrying for a while, and we need to get to some sort of truth about the situation. Their feelings for you, Knight of Cups, you know, so the way I can see this is you kind of came into this person's life and shook things up and changed things, and it's, you cannot hide it. If it's real, it's going to come out. But you know, the thing is like we can't try to hold on to two identities. We can't, you know, so there looks like there could be some love, or true love and feelings being exposed this weekend. So you've changed somebody, or somebody's changed since some sort of argument or situation that you had that really broke them apart. Their next actions towards you is the Strength card, repair. You know, let's kind of soften things up, maybe soften the blow. Maybe I get it. Maybe it was too close for comfort, but I have a person coming towards you who might not be letting you know how much you have changed their life, how much you have shaken them up. They could be cleaning up a mess in the background that you don't realize, and they're acting calm with you. They're keeping themselves together. They're looking good. I got a Leo energy. But I feel like you've got some beautiful messages coming from this person who is, you know, just really wanting to bring things back into order, and really, you know, come clean with their emotions. What's their biggest challenge right now? And I see the Hierophant. There's, you know, could be a break of another commitment. They could be trying to figure out how to do things. What's the rules here? You know, we're breaking the rules. I'm breaking the rules. And maybe they're breaking their own rules. There it is. And they're going against what everybody else is telling them or what they think they should do. And it feels like they're being really pulled towards you, your energy. Maybe you're somebody that is, you know, so different from what was going on in their life. But you've cracked the code, that's for sure. Their biggest challenge could be, like I said, they're finishing something that they're committed to and being challenged to deal with it. Can't hide secrets. All right, let me roll. Pisces, a Libra, a Capricorn, a Taurus is what's coming through. Yes, I'm doing super chats right after Pisces. I'm going to close them right after Pisces. If you get it in, that'd be great. That'd be great. All right, 49. All right, Capricorn. Eight of Swords coming out here for you at the bottom of the deck. So there's some questions that need to be answered around you and another person, you know, and it's like, who's going to let go and who's going to say something? You know, this can be holding back information or feeling like I have to hold back, you know. Could even be you. It's like you're constantly feeling like you have to hold back, or you might trigger somebody, or you feel stuck in a situation like you want to say something to somebody, but you can't say it. You know, and it works both ways. So it looks like something needs to be said, but how do we say it? So your person's feelings, the King of Cups, right? You have a Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio energy. Let me roll the dice. I also have Cancer again. I have Virgo. I have Gemini, Taurus, and an Aries that this could possibly be about. Now, you know, you have somebody here who has deep feelings for you, but they are going to sometimes seem aloof when it comes to, if they're questioning anything, if they're afraid to let somebody know how much they care, or they're afraid to be betrayed. This could read as not interested or distance when they're actually just holding back because they feel safer, or they feel like it's not the right moment to really say exactly what they mean. Because if they do, they may regret or get mad at themselves for not explaining themselves or saying exactly how they feel. And so they know better. So until they're clear-headed, they won't say anything. Because if they are angry, mad, or upset for any reason, they could also say something that they don't mean as well. What's their next actions? I see they want to get together with you. It feels as though this is a dynamic where maybe you've been going on and on and on. You've been together for a while. You've been talking for a while. And it feels like each time something happens, a challenge comes up with communication of feelings. And eventually it'll get easier. It feels like right now it's being tested, you know, somebody here really learning to open up and learning to let you in, but they feel a connection, and it's somebody who has thought about a future with you. So you may be going through some complex emotional time with somebody right now, and it feels like they hold back, and they are holding back, right? But it doesn't mean it's going to last. It's more of a process and energy. Their biggest challenge is being forced to express their feelings before they're ready to. All right. So being forced or feeling like, you know, if they pull away, it triggers, or you get aggravated, or, you know, it's very challenging for this person to express themselves. They need time to process their emotions before they express themselves. So the biggest challenge could be, you know, wanting to react prematurely to this person, or thinking they're upset, or thinking they're mad, because it looks like it does cause conflict in your relationship or with this person. Like you may take something personal, or it causes drama whenever this person doesn't say something. Or if they say the wrong thing, it causes arguments and drama. So I can see that too, that it feels like I'm damned if I do, and I'm damned if I don't. So another one of those family kind of dynamic issues, and you'll get through it. That's all I got. It seems like this weekend you guys will find a way to get together, talk things out. And there's the Queen of Cups underneath the Eight of Swords. So that can be a lot of projection. It seems like a relationship I'm picking up on, and it seems like a lot of projecting back and forth, and people in their feelings. So may need to check our feelings this weekend. All right, Aquarius. Happy birthday, Leo. Babe, what's up? Happy birthday. All right, Aquarius, their feelings for you. I have a Taurus, a Pisces, a Capricorn, a Leo, possibly a Sag, right? Sag is trying to creep in there, creeping up behind. Maybe you don't see it coming, trying to enter back into your life. Three of Wands, look at that. So there's somebody here anticipating meeting up, connecting, getting together. You know, let's talk. Let's grow. Send the message out and prepare to go. All right. So it could be, you know, maybe somebody's sending you a message. Somebody's wanting to meet up or they're traveling to you. But this is future plans, their feelings, the Queen of Cups. Very tuned into you. You know, tuned into you emotionally, tuned into you physically. They're attracted to you. And, you know, this is somebody that's not second guessing whether or not you guys can build a future together. You know, it's like they feel very protective of you. And they see how caring you are. They see your emotions. They see the sensitive side of you that maybe others don't see. But you got somebody feeling you. What's their next actions? Page of Pentacles. You may get the party started this weekend. They may, you know, kind of poke in and poke around and see. This could even be new for some of you. Somebody that's just trying to get to know you. They see you more than you think. They study you. They've had a chance to, or they're wanting to get to know you. And so they could make an offer this weekend. So you are seeing, communicating, and somebody feeling very drawn to your aura, your energy. You know, maybe feeling like you're somebody that they always wanted to kind of be with. They view you as being empathic. And you could be unique to this person too, which is why the Page of Pentacles, they're just taking it slow and wanting to test the waters. Any challenges? The Two of Cups, just talking. You know, their challenge is maybe getting nervous or reciprocating or being able to tell you how they feel. You know, there could be, you could easily misread this person and think that something's wrong when they're just feeling awkward around you. You know, they want, you know, you might say something, you might do so, and you might misinterpret a person, and they're really just trying to figure you out. So I am seeing conversation. I am seeing try to follow the energy. Follow, you know, your person, reciprocate, mirror back to them what they're doing, you know, and not taking it personal, because this is somebody that really is feeling you. But conversation seems to be, conversation or initiating and getting a relationship started seems to be the challenge they're having. So they're always slow to start, but once they get once it gets going, you know, it's like my Camaro. Takes forever to get started, but once it goes, it's on, you know, takes off. All right, Pisces, and then super chats. I'm shutting the questions, so make sure you have your questions in if you want a read-in, because it is Friday. Last Friday I was on for like a long time. This Friday feels like we need an early weekend. You're welcome. Thank you for being here. All right, Pisces, their feelings for you. Knight of Pentacles, you got somebody growing on you. Hopefully it's what you want, because it's going to stay pretty much the same. You get what you get, right? And I got the Seven of Pentacles. So, you know, you're pushing somebody forward here. I got Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn energy. You know, this person is reliable. And so, you know, they're going to keep showing up exactly the way they are. If nothing has changed to this point, nothing is really going to change. You're getting what you get. So if that's awesomeness, it's going to remain awesomeness. They may be just trying to figure out what's the next step, where are things going. If it's pain in the ass, you know, it's like they're still slow to respond, or they're still, you know, not changing. Well, that's the kind of energy that's coming through too. It's like, do we still invest in this? Because it's guaranteed that, well, nothing's really guaranteed, but there's a high percentage rate here that your person is going to continue doing the same thing they're doing. How do they feel about you? Eight of Swords. Do they feel like you're a hot mess, right? Maybe you confuse them. Maybe you challenge them. Maybe you confront them and you make them think and you make them question everything. Or they think you overanalyze everything. You know, so that could be also a problem if they feel like you doubt them or you don't like their style or their pace. They may feel like they can't make you happy and that you're very stressed out and very anxious. But you know, again, if they keep showing up, it's because they're feeling a strong pull towards you. They're hoping that you guys can, you know, maybe resolve it. What's their next actions towards you? I see the King of Pentacles. So you have somebody that's not really going anywhere. So I feel safe saying this, okay? Your person likes you. Your person's interested in you. Your person, they're a little bit, you know, maybe they feel like you're a hard read. Maybe they feel like you need to relax a little bit. Maybe they, you know, or they are in their own routine and they got a lot going on and it stresses them out whenever you get stressed out, you know. But the thing is you've got somebody that is still sustaining and they're not going anywhere, but they're also not going to change their ways for you easily. And so this is where it comes down to, you could relax and not worry and nothing's going to change. Or you could be worried all the time and anxious and trying to get them to change, but they're not going to, because the Taurus is stubborn as shit. What's their biggest challenge? The King of Swords. They go cold real quick when they don't get their way. You know, they create boundaries or they create distance. And you are dealing with somebody who likes to be right all the time and likes to be in charge. And it seems like communication might be an issue. You know, this person doesn't like emotional communication. And so they can shut down when things get too emotional. And I know that's you know, it's a challenge. You know, we got to work through things. Some people can't handle it. But it does seem like there's just a perspective challenge between the two of you. You see things differently. You know, you guys just see things differently. And that's it. Remember the days when we didn't give a shit how other people just saw you? We just let people be themselves unapologetically. And we didn't force anything. We didn't have to change anyone. Why do people have to change? You know, relationships were easier when we were younger. We didn't expect anything from anybody. We expect too much from each other. We expect too much from each other, and we expect too much from relationships, and we expect people to do things for us, and nobody has to do shit for anybody. It's a blessing if we do. We definitely, humans, we complicate our lives so much. I see Scorpio, I see Aquarius, I see Libra, and I see Pisces. Yeah, we change on our own accord. We change if life makes us. You know, life can make us change with the shit we get into. And healthy relationships change. We change for one another, but we have to willingly want to do it. Relationships are awesome. We need them. You know, they help us grow. All right, that's all I got. Super chats, and I'm going to shut them off right now. We're going to get through these super chats. And so let's get going. Super chat at, let's start it at 1. You guys are awesome. You know, I call myself out too when I say these things. It's just like all of us. It's just a reminder. It's just a reminder to check our own perspective of things. You know, we get caught up in our emotions. And all right. Have a good night. All right. I love it. Good night. Have a great weekend. You. Why is Shatorian going to Chicago? Is it because of a guy or some money? She told me she behind on rent and jobless and careless. So I want to know, why did she decide to travel? What's her energy? All right. All right, so why is Shatorian going to Chicago? I'll pull 3 cards and they'll kind of show what's going on. It does look like, you know, the Queen of Pentacles can say she's just, you know, living life, going solo, spending money maybe obviously she doesn't have. And you know, but just doing something that feels luxurious or feels good, right? So it does feel like money could be involved, luxury could be involved. And I see the 2 of Pentacles, maybe work, money. 6 of Wands and 5 of Pentacles. So I'm not seeing it's because of a guy. I'm seeing it's because she may seem like there's another way to make money, or get back money that's owed to her, or she thinks that it'll solve her problems, or she's avoiding her problems. Right? So I'll put the timestamps up in the description. I forgot to do that. The timestamps will be up in the description box. Just give me 2 seconds, him. So that's what it is. And it could be she has a lot going on and she feels like this is a good way to maybe explore other options when it comes to jobs or money. But it's independent and it doesn't show for a man with the Queen of Pentacles. It could be with a friend or with the hopes of excelling in Chicago. So she told you she's behind on rent. So what's her energy? And so let's look at her energy and why she decided, though, to travel, because it does look like she is trying to avoid. You know, 2 of Cups, her energy, 3 of Wands, and the 9 of Wands. She may have been told by somebody about a possibility of, you know, checking out a new area to see if it would help her out. You can see that somebody has mentioned to her to travel beyond, to go, and you can see she's exhausted and fatigued. So part of me feels like a friendship. She might be going there because of a friend, a feminine friend. And she's going there for a job, money, resources. But she's also going there because she feels stuck. She feels tired, worn out, and is hoping for something that's going to help her. Is there anybody else, you know? And I see no, the Five of Swords. So it's not about a man. It's not about a man. To me, it feels like an escape, or, you know, trying to run to find a better solution to your problems. But it might be a temporary fix, or it might be something she's just checking out. She heard online, she applied for a job. Or she's just checking things out because she's avoiding, like I said, she's avoiding what's going on. She doesn't know what else to do. So she does look very conflicted and very stressed out about her current situation. All right, sending you love, him. Let me know. That's it. All right, so he may be away Saturday until Sunday. All right, let's see. His energy. All right. So the moon card is showing up, and things are kind of looking unclear because of the timing. And it's easy to distort things or project fear onto the situation because there's no certainty yet. And you're needing that certainty. And I'm getting stay grounded here, which you also said, you know, chilled vibes, whatever, you know, this could be testing. There's a test, it's testing you. And I do see the Ace of Wands here. So that's the energy around you right now. So just, you know, we just did go through an eclipse as well. Him, I see the Seven of Cups. He's still, you know, likes the idea of you guys wanting to see each other. He's still thinking about you, and the feeling is real. It's just you guys haven't made it real yet. You haven't been able to make space. And you know, it's complicated because some of you all deal with people that move a lot, travel a lot, go a lot, and there's always going to be some Two of Pentacles going on and some Seven of Cups, where it's like, but what's showing up right now is what's going to be, you know, even in a relationship too, it can be like that. You have to be okay with somebody and their freedom. And so this is what's showing up. And so in his perspective, he still has you on his mind. He's still thinking about things, you know, he's not pressured about exactly when or how. He just knows it'll happen eventually. It just hasn't been brought into reality yet. What's his current challenge? you know, exhaustion, you know, just finished a trip. You know, just ended something and is just recouping or trying to get back into the grind of things. How does he feel about you? Page of Pentacles. He definitely is on board with moving towards this, and he, you know, the good news is he wants to make tangible effort, practical steps, do things practically. But the beginning phases of this is going to be very slow at first. But he still feels like everything's going to be fine. We'll ground in on this when we can. So that's the weekend energy. That's what's going on with you guys right now. He's still interested in figuring out what the plan is and still making plans with you. So I'm pretty sure if it was going to happen today, it would happen already, right? You guys are ahead of us. But if plans aren't at least created, or maybe try to make plans, maybe we're talking about making plans. Maybe he's still trying to get his bearings, you know, ground himself in, get back to work. You know, it's hard to solidify a date when there seems to be a lot of movement going on. And we also don't want to close a door before it gets started by pressing on and hoping we can get it to happen, because it will happen. What about Monday? Page of Cups. There could be a possibility that you guys will either talk about it or try, or, you know, it's a good energy around Monday. You know, I am getting he is putting the effort in and he is willing to try. And you see this new start, this new energy. But his challenge right now is everything's so up in the air, and he's still all over the place. Just ended, you know, his travels. What should you do? 6 of Wands. You know, stay confident as always. You know what you want. You said it. You got it. Feel good about where you stand with them. You know, everything is good. It looks like you're going to have some sort of win, and still staying positive, focusing on the wins. All right. Because sometimes the next step can steal the thunder of what's already happened. I mean, I just want to gracefully come back to, there's been so many periods where you guys weren't even friends or talking to each other, and here you guys are making plans to get together. And so we can't let any kind of anxiety or fear steal from us the win that we have. We're here, and we just got to keep moving forward and showing up confidently and responding to them confidently, and not feeling under distress if you feel like there's always something, you know, going on and you're still not top priority right yet. You just got to hang in there. You know, hang in there. Moving forward, I see the 6 of Cups for you guys. The timing's going to come in naturally, and it feels like you guys are going to reconnect, and you both want it at this point. You may be pulled to past memories and fear that the new memory is not going to show up, but it's showing up for you. And I am seeing that you guys will talk about getting together at a later date. You know, the moon card, we just went through the eclipse. The moon is kind of shaking things up, and things are uncertain right now, which is going to trigger you and your fears. But they are still wanting this, or wanting to connect. At least what it's showing in the cards. It hasn't rained yet here. I want it to thunder. I'm ready for it. Where does he want things to go? Where does he want things to go? Where does he want things to go? Well, you get the Sun card. And the Judgment card. So overall, you know, they like you. They judge you very positively. They enjoy you. They enjoy your company. And they do feel a pull towards you. And this can be a renewal. So where are things going? You know, feeling pulled to revive, rejuvenate, you know, do it differently. Maybe try something differently, right? Because they genuinely have authentic feelings for you. You know, Seven of Swords, the Fool card, they get triggered every time. They get cold feet. And they get cold feet because you come a charging. Whenever they take the first step, or they just want to chill and they just want to, you know, the Fool card, I just want to go. I just want us to see where things go. I don't want to always have a plan. I don't want to figure it out. I don't have all the answers for you. You come charging. I need to know. And there's an intensity. You have a lot of energy that comes at them. And, you know, it may give them cold feet, give them the jitters. I just want you to take a breath for a second, because I do that. And so I know what that feels like. Like, I've had people tell me, like, you give off a lot of energy in the past. And I'm passionate and intense when I talk. And some people, that when they know me, they get it, but some people misread it, and some people can't handle it, and some people, you know, don't like it. It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. It just means that there's some people that we have to turn down the temperature for until we got them, you know, until we get what we want. You know, and that's the thing, is when somebody's going snail's pace and it's agitating you, if you get agitated, this is where you lose your shit. But this is where I kindly say, is this who you really want to be with? Because this is the kind of person that they are. They're showing you who they are, you know? But it does feel like, you know, they are on the brink of trying to connect. There's something that pulls them towards you. But maybe it is just about dialing it down a little bit and letting them show up for a second and letting them reveal themselves, you know, and instead, you know, on a mission. You know, that's a Leo energy, but I always see Mars. I always see Scorpio Mars there. Like, you know, there's no slowing down when I want something. And that's why I'm saying it with my heart to you. It's like some people, I say take everything day by day. Everything day by day. If you're dealing with a complicated situation with somebody, force never gets you anywhere. So there's nothing you can do. You know, if somebody's challenging you, the biggest test is going to be you doing something else and letting them chase after you. Let them pursue you. It does look like there's something about you and the connection that drives them to you, but then equally it can scare them too as well. Yeah. That's the thing. If he's terrified of commitment and you know this, if you're pursuing, that's going to trigger him. You know, if you're more relaxed, chilled, and don't give a shit, then the less they do. But I'm only showing you the dynamic and how to work with the opposite dynamic. It doesn't mean it's healthy, and it doesn't mean it's guaranteed, and it doesn't mean it's good for you. It just means that I'm just following the energy. You know, if somebody gets triggered by, you know, too much energy coming at them, we got to dial it back. You know? So yeah, everything does look good. It still feels like ultimately you have their attention, but they feel a pull to you, but you guys have to figure out what this situation is that gets you to a point where you get agitated. Because when you get agitated, that's when the cycle goes around. You react and then they respond. All right. Jammin'. I love it. All right, I have Tierra, Angel, Queen, Khalees, and then we're out. All right. Yeah. So and that's it. You're gonna keep pushing on with it. You know, if you're gonna keep pushing on with it, you've got to work with the energy that you're being given. You can only work with what you've been being given, you know, and don't stress about it. Don't let it mess with your mental well-being. You know, I'll do this, but I'm not going to let it consume me. All right. So, Tiara, did you want to change your question? If so, let me know. I don't know if you put it up in chat. All right. I'm going to wait for Tiara because I think she wanted to change her question. If she's in the chat room, there's 2 questions there. So I just need to know what to do. All right. What's the energies like for you this weekend? Feels imbalanced. Well, we'll be moving into Libra moon, so it'll get balanced this weekend. All right. And Venus, it's a conjunction. All right. What's your energies for this weekend? Well, you have 10 of Pentacles. So we're looking at home life, doing stuff to do with, your responsibilities, your home, your work, your life, your, life in general, but it's a good energy. And I have the Page of Pentacles. The two, you could be making plans, deciding to actively make plans to go do something. Maybe the energy is in balance. Maybe there's something that you're being called to do, something new. I know. That's what I don't. It's, you're always doing something. But is this with your kids? Family? Maybe you're still focusing on maybe a new job or doing some research to see if there's anything else out there. I know you've been talking about your work, because this can be planning your future. So I don't know. These are your cards, and I have the Page of Wands. So I'm seeing 2 pages around you. You're saying nope, and I'm saying this is what I got. You got 2 options. You can either study, read a book, do something that brings you money, work, or you can go and have fun. So these are your 2 options. Either go out and explore and have fun and do something that brings you joy, or do something that makes you money, and do something that makes you feel grounded, and do something that can build something more for your future. Doing something practical. And I have the 10 of Pentacles, so it could be something that needs your attention around the house. Could be, you're saying you're out of balance, but are you out of balance with too much work, not enough play, or too much play, not enough work? Or are you so distracted that you don't like either or, and you don't know where else to go? So you just kind of go back and forth from one to the other. But is it all meaningless if it's just to distract you and keep you occupied? So really, you have options this weekend. I'm not seeing that there's anything bad around you, anything challenging. It's just a matter of which choice you decide to go. Do I want to do something that's more like study, more like work, hands-on, or do I want to do something that is more creative, more passionate, more fun, or get back out there, or try to meet somebody? Right. So I have a good energy for you. And, unless of course you're just, the 10 of Pentacles, you're stuck at home and you're unhappy. There's options for you to get out the house and go do something different. Choose your medicine. Lots of opportunity here with the pages to communicate with new people as well. Let's not look for any trouble when there's no trouble. Ooh, I just deleted tears by accident. And where are you? Where are you? There you are. You're welcome. So the imbalance is between work and play. Hello, Miss Emma. I'm glad it resonated. All right. General love reading. All right. So general love reading. I know you said that you wanted to change your question. I couldn't find it. 6 of Swords, Queen of Swords. you know, letting go and moving forward. You know, to me, it's like it's time to move forward and see new territory. You know, not being fooled by the BS anymore. You know, doing what you say, taking your own advice, defining your path and defining your reality and defining what relationships mean to you, and leaving before, if things are too confusing and they, you know, sometimes it's just not worth your time. And so let's move on and move out. Let's move on from this situation. It's not worth it. If it wants to come back around, it will. And this is the general energy around love, right? So it's like you just got to discern things and stick to your gut and know when you're right, know when you see something. And, you know, maybe you're given the benefit of the doubt too many times. But most of the time, if you've been correct, you know, you got to trust your judgment. Queen of Cups. Very empathic energy you have, very sentimental. You fall in love quickly. Your biggest challenge, Nine of Wands. All right. It just gets you nowhere though, right? You're like, you just want to be in love. You want to be cared for. You want to care for others. You want, you know, you're just very sentimental. And it does look like you're expecting big hits around the corner. Like every time you meet somebody, or every time something starts to get going, you start to experience fear that you're just waiting for something to come around the corner and it's going to catch you when you're off guard. You know, but the good news is you're showing up as queens, and it's showing like you're still trying to keep yourself together no matter what's been going on. You know, I've been here, I've been through some fires, but I'm resilient, and you're not going to steal my thunder. You're not going to steal my joy. You know, you might get away with some bullshit, and but eventually I'll learn my lesson, right? And so, you know, so really it just feels like maybe you're giving people too much of your power when it comes to love, and you really do want to trust people, and you want to trust the situation, and you let people kind of show themselves to you. But I think at this point right now, it's showing that enough's enough. You know, if you're staying in something too long, at this point, you could be cutting the time limits down. Like, I've got to make time limits for how long I'm going to stay wondering about somebody, or, you know, wondering about my worth, especially because you know your worth, but you're giving it away. And there could be something else going on where you're just thinking, maybe there's, you know, I've been through enough. I'm just tired. I'm over it. You know, just God, give me someone. I'll work with them. I'll brush their hair I don't care. I'll fix them up. But just give me something. So that's what I'm getting so far with your energy. What's your challenge when it comes to love? The Emperor card. All right. Either, you know, you've got some guards, right? And maybe you initiate, maybe you're wanting love to initiate, but you always seem to be the one that has to initiate. And you also could be given off some, you know, some guards too with this energy. Like, I'm very protective of myself, and so I need to enforce things. I need to make sure things are happening according to plan, so I can feel a lot safer. And that's a normal reaction to relationships, you know, especially when it just seems like one after another, you can't figure out what the hell is going wrong, right? So you're normally coming through as a Queen of Cups, which is somebody who should really attract love. I shouldn't say should, but naturally attracts love by just being open and being yourself. And you really don't have to pursue. You kind of draw people to you. But it seems like in love that you're becoming the pursuer and the initiator, because you want to get shit done and you're sick of dealing with BS, right? So you want an Emperor in your life. Is there anybody coming towards you? I see a Nine of Cups. I see a Seven of Pentacles, and I'm seeing the Nine of Swords. All right. So you have a couple energies coming through. I am seeing, yes, be careful what you wish for, because something that you've been waiting on, something's been keeping you up at night. It could be back around, right? But it does look like you're the one that's responsible. You're the one that always takes initiative, you know. And I am seeing, if you wait a little bit longer, or you're a little bit more discerning with the people that you're connected to, you will stress less and have less sleepless nights. I do get this pull, like you might have some good honeymoon periods with people, but you're not necessarily, you're investing time in people and it doesn't go anywhere. And it's causing unnecessary grief and loss of sleep, right? So there is somebody around you, and you may need to reevaluate whether or not this person is worth your attention or not, especially if, depending on how long you've been waiting on somebody, is it worth your investment now? It might feel good when they pop in. It always does feel good to get that text. It does feel like, all right, we have a fresh start. Here we go. But if it keeps showing up the same way, it might be time for you to say, see you later. Sayonara. All right, let's see. Queen Tiki. Oh, you're welcome, Queen Tiki. Thank you for being here. Hello. I've already done the readings. You just have to scroll back. The timestamps are in the description box. All right. Let's see. What do you see for me in love? All right. Anybody coming towards you in love? Let's see. I do see the Eight of Cups here at the bottom of the deck, and maybe you're in an energy right now of, sometimes the hardest choice is just to walk away from the choices that you have. You know, you could have choices around you and they all seem, good, and they seem like they could, you can see them going places, but none of them are landing. None of them are, nobody's taken any firm action to settle in or make it something, or title it. So this can turn into fan mail. This can turn into pen pal. There it is. This can turn into, I get excited when I finally get that return call. I have one person I'm focusing on, and when they do finally reach out, it gives me a hit of dopamine, and then for a minute I feel good and I can think about the future, but then crickets, and then I'm thinking about somebody else or somebody, and that kind of energy can just really keep us stuck in a loop and keep us from moving forward. It looks good, but it doesn't go anywhere. And so the Eight of Cups can be maybe some of the options that you're dabbling with or that you're connected to. Maybe God wants you to see somebody else. Maybe there's somebody new coming into your life that is completely different from what you have decided that is your type. We get conditioned to think a certain type of person is our type. And that is not, it's like we don't even give other people a chance to unfold. And your type, you may have outgrown your type. And it might be easy when your type shows up for you, or people don't challenge you so much, as opposed to walking away from the choices you have and trying on somebody completely different that could be available for you. To me, that feels a lot like the South Node energies, being pulled to walk away from what's familiar and venturing off into exploring something completely new that will change you, change your life. Need exactly what I'm trying to say. Being challenged in a healthy way by somebody completely new. Instead of you, being where you're at and good where you're at, and always connecting with people that seem like they're just not quite where you're at. So I see the Page of Swords, right? This is communication and seeing what's out there and testing the waters and talking to people and maybe signing back up to connect with people out. I'm an advocate now more for outside than online. I can't do the online thing, and people have such a persona online and get they become their, and it is our personalities, it's our avatar. And so we're online and we can be whoever we want to be, and we become whatever dynamic or whatever hat we put on. But in person, it's so different. It's so different. And so I am seeing here, I'm an advocate for signing up for things and doing things that are out of the norm for you, that challenge you, so that you can be around different people or new group of people and talk to people. There could be a conversation coming in through somebody that you already talked to that may know somebody. But it is more communication is being asked of you. What's your biggest challenge? The Three of Wands. And this can be getting out of your comfort zone, you know, or you're waiting. You wait too long for somebody to show up, or you just patiently wait for God to deliver through Amazon your perfect person. You know, it's like we wait for life to happen to us rather than venture out and make it happen for us. And it's easier as we get older because we really do feel stuck. Like, what do we do? How do we explore and navigate so that we can meet more people? And it's not easy. It's not easy for everyone. It's some people it is. Some people like can navigate to people and socialize, but for some people it just seems too scary. And it's connecting with people that you feel comfortable with to help you, or take invitations to go out. But you are being asked to get out. You're sitting on the fence. It's like, you know, you want to do things, you know, you want to go places, you know, you're tired of waiting for people, but there's something that makes you anxious about socializing or connecting maybe, or trying something completely new. Now, I don't know if you're stuck at home. I don't know if, you know, travel is difficult for you. And this can also even be online for you. Maybe online is comfortable for you. So you could be connecting with somebody even through social media, online talking. Anybody coming towards you? And I see a Page of Wands. So we do see some flirting coming around the corner. It seems like playfulness, wanting to have fun, wanting to try something creative. So it's a personal choice for you, and that's valid. That's valid. It's a personal choice to not go out and about. And that's why, you know, I know it's when I make that comment or advice, you know, it's a challenge. It's a challenge to do something totally different. But if you don't go out and about, but you want love in your life, then online is going to probably be your outlet. It's going to be what feels most comfortable for you. And even online, we have to be very, very cautious about, you know, who we're connecting to and what we say, because it's just like any group you're around, you know, you can pick up the energies around the people. But I do see conversations. So you have pages showing up for you in love, which means that you could either be talking to somebody, and or you could be getting ready to initiate, you know, going, maybe you need to initiate. If you're talking to somebody and you can't seem to get it, it's pen pal, because that can happen with this energy. If you're in pen pal status with somebody, somebody's got to initiate. Otherwise, it's just going to stay in pen pal. It's not going to go anywhere. People will avoid it constantly. People love to have somebody to chat to and scroll and say hi to at 2 o'clock in the morning, or, you know, or just feel like there's some activity going on when we text somebody, right? But so many people have gotten to this point where they're chatting with people, but it never goes anywhere. And so the only way a situation is going to go somewhere, especially with online, is if right away you say, I'm not a pen pal, I want to make a date. And you may have to be the one that initiates and says, let's get together. And if that, because some of you people might be talking to people that are catfishing you. That's still a thing. Or, you know, they're showing you a picture of what they look like 2 years ago. And, you know, they've had facelifts and everything else, and they're not even recognizable. I don't know. Anything could be going on. But you get emotionally invested in people that we talk to. And you know that you can build an emotional connection with somebody in just over a week talking to somebody. And then when they go ghost, it can feel like you're going through a breakup, a real breakup. So you have to be mindful who you're even giving your energy to online. It really is a thing. And people take everything so personally, especially even online, you know, and we share so much online. And it feels vulnerable. So you are being asked to, you know, if you're talking to somebody, you got to get to that next stage. You got to get as quick as you can to let's see each other before I start emotionally investing any longer, right? Because you can end up talking to somebody for a year and it doesn't go anywhere. You know, and that's what I'm getting here for your advice is the 7 of Swords. You know, you're seeing here, you know, half the time you don't even know if you can believe what's going on, but are you in denial yourself? Are you afraid to actually initiate and take connection and take the connection to the next step? But it feels like you may even avoid red flags at times, you know, too, for whatever reason. You've got to trust the red flags when they come through. They're there for a reason. And I see the Temperance card, which is telling me things are kind of staying the same, you know, until you decide to change something, which is not always the most fun message. Right now, if you keep going the way you're going, you have the Temperance card. And that's the thing, texting, you can't understand underlying context. So you have to make it face value. You have to trust what people are saying face value. You cannot read into texts anymore. No more digging and searching for the undertone. Call me. There's, you know, it's like when people text or say something, face value, that's what they're saying. If you continue doing things the way things are going now, you have the Temperance card, which says, you know, life's just happening right now. And naturally things are going to move, you know, in accordance. There's nothing crazy happening. But if you're wanting some dramatic change right now with the Page of Wands here, if you're wanting some dramatic change, then it is saying here that you have to do something about it to make some sort of dramatic change in your lifestyle or in your love life. Because you're choosing to stay home, which is making it harder for people to find you. And that's what I have for you. I do see a fire or an air sign around you. We video call in my family all the time. Like we don't even, the only time we do an audio call is if I'm driving, but we always FaceTime. We always try to make sure we're seeing each other's face and communicate. You're welcome. All right, what are Mark's intentions towards you? All right, well, it looks good. You know, it looks good. The Nine of Cups. It looks good. It looks like it could go somewhere. It looks like they like what they see. It looks like, you know, this is a honeymoon phase. You know, so we got to let things land though. That's why you hear me exhale when I see that. Because yeah, it does say, I wish you're going to get it what you want. You know, it feels good. It looks good. It tastes good. Walks like a duck, talks like a duck, must be a duck, right? But the problem with that is it's new. It feels good. And it can be performing sometimes, you know. It's like we're always at our best in the beginning. So I have the Four of Cups, the Seven of Swords, and the Knight of Pentacles, all right? So this is where things may get a little bit questionable. It's like they love hanging out. They love good times with you. They love keeping it casual. They love seeing, you know, you talking to you. But they might not be being completely honest about where they see this going just yet. You know, it's like the challenge is I don't know what I want for the future. So if they're moving really slow to commit or to define this connection, it's because they're sitting in an energy where they don't know if they want to be more serious yet. But that's not a bad thing. It's just you got to let the dust settle before, you know, sometimes it seems like women were already planning our wedding dates when somebody else is moving slow. So they are moving slow right now. It doesn't mean they don't desire you. This is where I want you to see the difference. It doesn't mean they don't want you. They don't think you're hot. They don't desire you. You look great. You look like somebody who could be the perfect match, perfect picture. But then people get in their heads and start analyzing and questioning everything. So it's slowing down the pace. The good news is with the Knight of Pentacles, once they figure out what they want, you already have them invested. So they will show up. They will continue to show up. They're just being a little bit overly cautious, right? So they could be watching you or just kind of seeing how the relationship is playing out before they decide to make any solid commitments or label it. What should you do? I see the Five of Wands. You're stressing about it way too much. It's bothering you way too much. It's aggravating you way too much. And so this inner conflict that you have about the situation, because you see that they're Knight of Pentacles, you're the Five of Wands, you're ready to make shit happen and they're ready to slow down. So the energy dynamic between the two of you is fire and earth. And we have to read the room here. And if somebody is testing you or aggravating you this much, this is very important for you to look at, because something is coming up for you that says this is not in alignment with what I truly value. And this might not go away. This trigger or this agitation that you have is either showing where you're impatient, or it's showing where you're not compatible with somebody, but you might be trying to force it to work. So it might not have anything to do with this person thinking you're hot and wanting this. They could be picking up a vibe from you, like maybe I'm not good enough if I'm not showing. If they think they're doing their best, but you don't, that's where if you're not cautious of your values, you could read the room wrong. And so I would say it's either maybe this week or the next few days or so, just kind of slow down and see how they show up for you, engage it. And when you get frustrated with them, ask yourself, am I getting frustrated with their behavior or with something that they said or did? Or, you know, is this something that's a trait of theirs that I can adjust to? Or is this just something that they're being assholes and it's disrespectful, you know? And then charge after them and beat their ass if you need to. But that's what I got for you, right? Because the question just might be, I have a tendency to look at ourselves first, because I do believe that many of us get in relationships that we force, because we can work with just about anything, and we're like, oh, well, we'll work with this and do it. But then we're just really not, we're trying to make something fit that's not supposed to. And then we take it personal. And another person could be completely in love with you, but you're fighting yourself and don't realize it. We're fighting ourselves, but blaming the other person. So that's what I have for you. It seems better than it looks here. All right. It feels better than it looks in the energy. So, but this, remember where we just went through an eclipse, where the eclipse season lasts though a while. And then, you know, one of your biggest fears could be coming up for you. One of your biggest insecurities from when you were younger could be coming up for you. Could be coming up for all of us. But this person activates you and you're ready to go. You're ready to, you know, you're the quarterback. Throw it already. Let's go. Right, is that what the quarterback? No, the running back runs and waits. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. You're just ready to go. All right. I love you guys. Have a great weekend. Thank you all for being here with me. And I will see you guys on Monday. I tried. Okay. All right. Take care. Hopefully you guys watch the video on Sunday.